pick.
Alrighty, welcome to another episode of On the Clock, your Just Baseball MLB Draft and College Baseball podcast. I'm Jared Perkins. We have an awesome guest with us today. We have outfielder Korbyn Dickerson out of the University of Indiana. Korbyn, how are you doing today, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. Appreciate you taking the time to join us. We've been following your season all season long. You've been absolutely just tearing the cover off the ball. But first question we always ask, just for the viewers who don't know you, just give us a little insight into your journey through amateur baseball and how you kind of got where you are today.
Yeah, started out my college career at U of L, University of Louisville. I redshirted there my freshman year. Didn't get a whole lot of playing time my sophomore year. Ended up transferring to the University of Indiana, where I'm at right now. Putting in a ton of good work in the off season with the coaches. Got down to the nitty gritty of the swing. Finally got in a good place, and we're rolling with it now.
Yeah, I love it. That was going to be the first question I asked you. Going from Louisville to Indiana, you kind of talked about some of those swing adjustments, but what's been the biggest changes for you as far as your career and life too, as well, coming to Indiana?
Yeah, no, I got to Indiana. We really honed in on the mechanics of my swing. They were a little all over the place, was safe to say when I got here. So we really honed in on the load for me. My hands have always been a little noisy, so we kind of honed in on that too to clean that up a little bit. And then once the season rolled around, it kind of just got into the competitive phase. Learn how to compete in the box, learn what pitch to swing at and what counts, what zones you're hunting, all that stuff I learned when I got here. And it's been super beneficial. I've been super coachable with the guys, listening a lot, doing what they say, and it's working for me. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've been absolutely on fire. I think you had like a double at like 100, 115.9 at some point this season too. Yeah. So it's been fun to watch, man. For you too, you were kind of a highly regarded prospect out of high school, right? So what was some of the biggest adjustments you had to make coming to the college level and really kind of having to like, okay, yes, things are different here?
Yeah, no, my first year, I went into U of L, and getting drafted out of high school is kind of weird because like you go in and when you're young, you think you're the hot stuff. You got drafted, all this, that. And I got redshirted. So it was like a real awakening for me that I wasn't ready. And I completely agree with it too. Like once I got to college, I realized how much I was not ready for the next level of baseball. And so with that, I sat on the sidelines and I watched and I just learned from the older guys and watched what they do and how they carry themselves and how they work. And I applied that to myself. And 2 years later, it's panning out for me the same way that I watched those guys 2 years ago. So it's like there's a lot to learn when you're young. And I think that's the biggest thing that I took away was just watching the game and learning how to play the game the right way.
Yeah, I love that. And so far on your journey, it's been kind of a crazy one. You're now having all this success this year. Has there been a specific moment or even like a person that's really been so impactful in your development as a player?
Yeah, my dad for sure. Yeah. The guy's never given up on me. I mean, we've been through so much together from the time I started playing ball through all the adversity stuff that I've been through with my career. He's been by my side the entire time, always on me, always wants me to get better. And he couldn't ask for anything else out of somebody.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. So you've kind of talked a little bit about some of those swing adjustments, but you've been kind of known for your power at the plate, right? So what's your approach when you step in the box and kind of how have you refined some of those swings to not just be a power guy, but also a guy who kind of gets on base, makes contact as well?
Yeah. I used to be a really free swinger. I used to swing a lot of stuff and whiff a lot, chase a lot. I got here and I finally learned that pitch selection is a real thing. Like you got to pick your pitch and do damage on that pitch in the zone. And that's what I've done a lot better job of is not chasing, getting my pitch, making the pitcher come to me. And honestly, just hunting fastballs. I mean, you hunt fastballs, it makes everything else a lot easier. It's really hard to adjust from slow to fast versus fast to slow.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm just trying to get a fastball out over the plate, and then I'm able to adjust with everything else. I trust myself. I trust my hand speed. So if I know I'm not going to get beat by the fastball, everything else is just adjustable from there.
I love it. The other thing too, everybody focuses on the offense for you, but I think defense is like a really underrated part of your skill set as well. So how do you approach playing in the outfield? Are there players that you kind of model your game after a little bit?
Yeah. I like to think of myself as Mookie Betts a little bit.
I like that.
Smaller frame guy. He's got juice to the plate. Great defender. I think Mookie's one of those guys too. It's like everybody talks about how good of a hitter he is, and they're not really ever talking about his defense. It's like, he's a great defender too. So for me, I always try to remind myself that, like, no matter what happens at the plate, the ball's coming to you in the field. Like, you have to be ready to play defense. You can't carry what just happened out to the field with you. And that's one of the biggest things that I learned in defense is, like, man, this is just as important as hitting. But
Mhm.
get in the box and swing and compete on offense, like, you have to go out and play defense. And another thing that I learned being a little younger, take BP serious as an outfielder. Like, that is where you get better. Taking BP is the only real reps you're going to get before you get into the game. So, like, that is where you get better at catching fly balls, catching ground balls, going in the gap and getting it. Like, that's – so I took BP really serious those 2 years that I didn't play very much, and my outfield play got extremely better just through that.
I love that. For you, making that sick defensive play or hitting a home run, like, which feels better?
I got to be honest, making that diving play in the outfield feels better because you don't get as many.
Yeah,
like, as a
sure.
hitter, you can go out and you can hit 20 homers, but you might only get to dive for one ball the whole year. So, like, that feeling is pretty good as an outfielder. Yeah,
that's awesome. We've kind of talked about, like, the physical parts of your game and how you've made those adjustments to kind of get to where you are today. But talk a little bit how you mentally prepare for games, especially, like, facing high caliber opponents, and then, like, mental adjustments you had to make too to help you get to kind of where you are today.
Yeah. So my buddy from summer ball last year, he taught me this little phrase, ASP. I write it on my shoes, I write it in my hat, and it just said simple, always stay positive. And for me, that, like, hit me so hard. It was like, wow, this guy just writes 3 little letters in his hat, and it helps him, stay positive on the field. So I started doing it, and honestly, that's my only mental cue that I really need. Like, if I'm struggling or I feel bad or I want to feel down, I'll literally just sit in the dugout, look at my hat, look at those 3 words, and think about anything else that could be positive. Because baseball's hard enough. I mean, you have to go out there with confidence every pitch, every at-bat, every defensive play. Like, you have to be locked in. So for me, real short-term memory, really short-term memory on the field. Like, whatever happens, that's fine. Next play. Next play.
I love that mindset because, like, baseball's a game of failure. You're going to fail way more than you are going to succeed. And, like, if you are constantly sitting in those failures, like, your mind's just going to go into kind of warp speed basically. And just
and for me, I've learned that when you fail, that's the best time to learn.
Yeah.
When you do something wrong, that's where you really learn. So I look at it through that lens now, and I'm like, oh, I suck. I just got out. It's like, hey, what'd you do wrong? Don't do that again. It's just changing the mindset. It has nothing to do with the adversity. It's just how you look at it.
Yeah, no, I love that mindset. For you, kind of, what have been some of your goals this year, as not just for you, but for the university or for Indiana as well? What have been the big goals for you coming into this season?
Honestly, the only goal that I have when I step on the field is to win.
Yeah,
I love winning with the guys. The feeling of winning is just night and day difference is the feeling of losing. I mean, losing absolutely sucks. And everybody that has played a college sport or any sport for that matter knows that losing sucks. So for us, we're just trying to go out and win, compete with each other, have a good time, go out and win baseball games. That's all we come to the field to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you're winning too, like, those bad performances, like, if the team wins, like, you just don't worry about them as much.
Yeah, honestly, when you play for the team and not for yourself, you typically have more success.
Yeah.
Like, if you're playing for the guys, you're going to succeed.
Yeah. We did an old podcast kind of focusing on the mental side of the game and interviewed Samad Taylor with the Royals, and he was just like, I don't care if I go 0 for 4 as long as I did something at the plate that helped the team.
Help the guys win. That's all that matters. Yeah, like, you could be 0 for 5 and your 6th at bat, you come up and hit a chopper single with the game-winning run. Nobody cares if you just went 0 for 5.
Yeah.
So it's like, next pitch, move on. That's how you look at it,
Yeah, Samad was like, I don't care if I go 0 for 4. If I moved a guy over to third and he scored that inning and that's the run that won the game, like, that's good for me.
Exactly, right.
Yeah. So for you, beyond baseball, to kind of get your mind off the game, are there some hobbies or things that you like to do off the field?
Yeah. This year I haven't really got to do as much of the stuff off the field. I do enjoy golfing. And it's really cold here in Bloomington, so golfing's not really a fun thing to participate in around here. But golf is normally up my alley in the fall. I love being on the beach. It's really hard not to like being on the beach. Jet skis are right up my alley. Just an outdoors guy, athletic sports guy. Whatever involves a sport, you stick me in it, I'll probably have fun.
I love it. You the best golfer on the team right now?
No. I just like going out there.
Yeah. Who's the best?
Yeah, I just like driving the golf cart and having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the best golfer, do you think?
I honestly don't know because we haven't played a whole lot of golf as like a team this year. I'm sure it's one of the pitchers.
Yeah.
You know, it's natural.
Yeah, every pitcher's probably just like has a second career as a golfer.
Yeah, I think we were talking about on the bus the other day. I think a couple of guys are like scratch golfers on the team, so it's like that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's definitely not me.
I couldn't shoot under 100 by myself.
No, it's a zero chance. Yeah, I have like a shank basically, and I have to like aim to the left to get it go straight.
Oh yeah, same. Yeah, no, I'm aiming to the other fairway, just to get back to the fairway. Yeah.
That one time it does go straight, I'm like, all right, that's a loss.
Yeah, one time it does go straight, it's 500 yards the other direction.
Yeah, I love it. So we kind of wrap up with some rapid fire fun questions for you. So what's the go-to food spot at Indiana?
That's tough. There's a lot of good ones. Buffalo's wing spot, best wings in town. Yeah,
I love it. You got to love a good wing.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you could face one big league pitcher, who would it be and why? Paul Skeens. Yeah, that's the answer we get from like everybody.
I mean, as a hitter, like you'll never get to face another guy like that. Yeah, I just see it. What does that look like?
What is the 8 different pitches that he has now since
I
added 2 more?
Mile-an-hour splinker.
Yeah. Nuts. For you, if you weren't playing baseball, what sport would you want to play?
Football.
Football?
I tried to get my mom to let me play in high school, and she just said, mm-mm.
What position would you play?
Probably like a slot receiver, maybe like a DB cornerback kind of thing.
Okay.
Good footwork, a good footwork position.
Yeah, I was gonna say with speed and like speed and ability to track something down.
Over, but I'll catch you.
Yeah. There you go. So for you, I asked this question to everybody. Build your Mount Rushmore of outfielders. So it doesn't have to be like the best outfielders all the time. It can be just like 4 guys that you look up to.
Mookie Betts is 100% on that list.
Yeah.
Juan Soto.
I love that.
Mike Trout. Probably Aaron Judge, because I am a Yankees fan.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. I love it. Then the last question is, what's the walk-up song this year?
This year it was Turks by Nav. But I think I'm going to change it to The Largest by Big X, The Plug.
Love it. How many times do you change the walk-up song each year?
Probably 3.
Yeah, I can imagine it gets old though, right?
Yeah, because it's like little phases, especially when you start getting a stretch of like a ton of home games and you just hear the same song for like 15 ABs a weekend. It's like, I need something new. So yeah, I'll probably change it. This weekend we got like a themed weekend. It's the 80s, 90s, 2000s. So
nice.
We've got 80s, 90s, 2000s walk-up songs this weekend. So I got to get on that and change it actually.
I love it. When I did baseball ups at the University of Nevada, we had a guy change his walk-up song every time he had a bad game. And I was like, dude, that's just like a reminder to you.
Yeah, the baseball guys are super superstitious.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be anything, and they'll have to change it.
Yeah. Korbyn, we can't thank you enough for joining us on the Clock. We're wishing you nothing but success. We're going to keep following your season long. Hopefully see you guys in the playoffs and all that fun stuff. So
thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, keep crushing it.
I will. Thanks for having me on.